Hi there, this is Michael Bovey with ConsumerRecoveryNetwork.com, and I want to talk to you today about bankruptcy. Is it right for you? Well, it depends. What is it you're trying to accomplish? What are your financial capabilities? Can you qualify for Chapter 7? Should you do a Chapter 13? Are there alternatives? There's a whole bunch of questions that you have to answer about whether or not you should do bankruptcy. What I do want to mention is that there's a whole lot of misconceptions about there. In fact, bankruptcy is seen as this alternative of last resort. Absolutely must be avoided at all costs. In fact, many of the personal finance and different TV personalities that discuss individual financial issues always warn against bankruptcy. But the fact is, there's a time for it. And sometimes even if you can do other things to tackle a mounting debt problem, bankruptcy may still prove to be the right option. So some of the misconceptions are that I'll never get credit again if I file bankruptcy, or I'm just blown out from any credit opportunities for the next 10 years. That's categorically false. Actually, bankruptcy tracks extremely well with having the ability, after you file, say, a Chapter 7, to go out and get competitively priced credit products again, similar to debt settlement, similar to credit counseling. While bankruptcy is going to stay on your credit report for 10 years, Chapter 7, Chapter 13 stays on there for 7 years, it doesn't mean that you're time barred or barred for access to credit for that full 10 years in a Chapter 7. The fact is, you'll have pre-approved credit offers in your mailbox within the first year after filing Chapter 7. You'll be able to walk onto a car lot and finance a vehicle, new or used, within a year, typically, of having filed bankruptcy. You are probably not going to be able to qualify for FHA type of underwriting standards for a new home purchase for about 2 years, but that's certainly not that big a deal. And you might be unable to access additional student loan products or new student loan products either for yourself or co-sign for a child for a couple of years, a few years after bankruptcy. So it's certainly not a death sentence to your credit, and it's the least costly and quickest way to resolve your debt comparatively to settlement, typically in credit counseling, which lasts about 4 or 5 years. Settlement can last anywhere from a week to 3 years. But bankruptcy is over in a couple of months, and you literally, legally wipe out your unsecured debt in a Chapter 7. So while bankruptcy is this thing that everybody wants to avoid, and trust me, I totally get the advice, I understand. You don't want to give up, you don't want to give in, you want to try and get something to the people that lent you money. That's all very reasonable, but there's a time and a place for you to say, hey, that's it, this is for me, I'm protecting my interests. And how do you go about it? Well, you talk to a bankruptcy attorney. So I'm not a bankruptcy attorney, and I can't give you all of the details that you need to learn about how bankruptcy is going to work for you. Bankruptcy is very state specific. What you can keep out of a bankruptcy, your stuff, your physical things that you get to keep, how much of equity in your car you can have and be able to keep a vehicle, 1, 2. It depends on what you make and your income. If you qualify for Chapter 7, it's kind of what they call a means test. In fact, on our site, we have a calculator you can use, plug in all your information, your state, how many people live in your home, your income, all those things, and get a good grip on what that threshold is for qualifying for Chapter 7. The main thing here is you need to talk with an attorney. Most attorneys offer free consultations, bankruptcy attorneys especially. These first consultations, you walk in there, you might get 30, 40 minutes. You can do it over the phone with many of these attorneys. So get the information. Just because you talk with an attorney does not mean that you have filed bankruptcy. You're gathering information, and that information is important to weigh next to other options. Fact is, you may not even have any other reasonable options to deal with your debt. So wiping it all out and getting a fresh start makes a ton of sense. Again, bankruptcy, all things considered, a Chapter 7 is the least expensive and most effective, most rapid way to get a fresh start financially. So reach out to an attorney, talk to them, maybe even more than one.